going to be looking at the Scarlet Ibis, and you have a copy of that in front of you, but we're going to take some time to look at the first part of the opening paragraph. The opening paragraph of the Scarlet Ibis says, "It was in the clove of seasons, summer was dead, but autumn had not yet been born, that the ibis lit in the bleeding tree. The flower garden was stained with rotting brown magnolia petals, and ironweeds grew rank amid the purple phlox. The 5 o'clocks by the chimney still marked time, but the oriole nest in the elm was untenanted and rocked back and forth like an empty cradle. The last graveyard flowers were blooming, and their smell drifted across the cotton field and through every room of our house, speaking softly the names of our dead." Just by looking at that first paragraph, you can tell that this is a pretty descriptive writer. We're going to kind of break it down and look at some of the descriptive words and phrases that are used in these few sentences. Our first sentence says, "It was the clove of seasons. Summer was dead, but autumn had not yet been born." So right away, we have an example of personification. Summer was dead, autumn had not yet been born, that the ibis lit in the bleeding tree. Okay, so even this description of bleeding tree paints a picture in our minds of what we might be looking at. Okay, also, in our very next sentence, we have the flower garden was stained with rotting brown magnolia petals, and ironweeds grew rank amid the purple phlox. Okay, some very descriptive writing right there. For example, the flower garden was stained. Okay, stained is a really interesting word choice there. And not just brown or dying magnolia petals, which the magnolia petals are actually down here in this picture, but rotting brown. Okay, you know, we're going to talk about why you might choose the word rotting over a different word choice. And ironweeds grew rank. That's another interesting word choice there, rank, amid the purple phlox. Notice that they use the very technical terms of the flowers. We have the magnolia, the ironweeds, and the purple phlox all right there, giving that a really pastoral, kind of calm feel. Next we have the 5 o'clocks by the chimney still marked time, but the oriole nest in the elm was untenanted and rocked back and forth like an empty cradle. Okay, so here we have that simile, rocked back and forth like an empty cradle. Here are what 5 o'clocks look like here, lots of purple flowers. And then an oriole nest, here's the oriole, was untenanted. That's an interesting word choice as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about what does it mean to mark time. How did the 5 o'clocks by the chimney still mark time? And why use this simile about the empty cradle? Lastly, we have the last graveyard flowers were blooming, and their smell drifted across the cotton field and through every room of our house, speaking softly the names of our dead. Okay, so we have personification again there, talking about how the smell and the graveyard flowers speak softly the names of our dead in our house. What does that mean? Again, last graveyard flowers, kind of talking about how these are our last ones of the summer, and their smell is able to drift across the fields through every room. You can kind of imagine like cotton, those flecks of cotton drifting off and floating through, kind of speaking the names of the dead, kind of an eerie mood. Okay, and we're going to look a little bit closer at why choose these words, why make it so descriptive in the rest of our presentation.